Welcome to Smarter Systems Equal Happier Teams. My name is Paul, Dr. Nacho Goodman, founder of Dentist Job Connect and Dental Nachos. I have an amazing guest we're going to introduce here in just a second. We are going to talk about how dental offices beat burnout and build teams that last. So I have my friend Iffi here. He's done so many things in the dentisting and real person world. Iffi, just give our audience a little background as to who you are and what you do.
Yeah, hey, sure. Thanks, Paul. Real world and dentistry world. That's good.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm Iffi. I'm one of the co-founders and CEO of Edge. So we're a hiring platform. We have hundreds of dentist customers, large and small, all over the U.S. I think we're in like 42 states or something like that, and growing on a daily basis. And on a daily basis, so what we're here for is I hear the same thing from dentists as I'm talking to them. It's like we have a great team, but they're drowning. And that's really why Edge exists, and that's what we're looking to helping to solve. So we've collected data, we've collected a lot of insight from tons of dentists all over the country, and that's what we're here to share with everyone today: is how to stop you from saying our team is great, but we're drowning.
Yeah, and we're going to hear from a dentist using you. And we're going to share a little bit about myself. I also want to share that as the founder of Dentist Job Connect, if you want more free time, freedom, and fewer hygiene checks, be proactive about your search for an associate dentist. This goes what Iffi's going to talk about too. Be more proactive instead of reactive. This is not my joke, Iffi, but they say the worst time to be looking for a plunger is when you need a plunger. So the worst time to be looking for a team member or an associate dentist is when you have too much on your plate. So be proactive. Reach out to us at Dentist Job Connect. You can text hire to 215-798-9897 to learn more. This all started with, this is all here, Iffi, because of my failed dreams of playing professional basketball. That was my original dream, but you grow to my size, you have this speed, you need to get backup dreams. So running Dental Nachos and Dentist Job Connect is my passion. And these amazing people I know because of you. So I want to give you gratitude, Iffi, because I did not know working with remote team members in Pakistan and Peru, and now two of them are in Canada, was even a thing. And my team is on here, and these amazing people work with us daily. We feel like they are part of our lives. We celebrate not only professional success, but personal success. And as a 48-year-old dentist, entrepreneur, dad, I did not know it was possible to do this. So I thank you for creating this company, Iffi. It has helped me so much. It has unlocked, or pun intended, Iffi, given me the edge as an entrepreneur. You like that one? It's given me the edge as an entrepreneur. So when there is some spiciness when you talk about working with remote team members, would you agree, Iffi? There is some polarization, some conflict, because most of it comes from confusion. So just kind of give us, we did a whole podcast on the Dental Amigos with your co-founder. If someone's just popping on for the first time and says, what's the deal with working for someone for $11 or $12 in another country? How's that work? Is that fair? Just tell us a little bit about that.
It's interesting. So I'm in California, and so pretty close to Silicon Valley. So like the word remote isn't even used in Silicon Valley. It's like, oh, I have this engineer, they're in this place or they're in this place. They're just like regular team members. And so looking at like what you just said, Paul, a second ago about like I have people in Pakistan, Peru, Canada, like that's, pretty insane. Like that's probably something, even 3 or 4 years ago before we met, you would have been like, what? That's not even possible. I actually have like a love-hate relationship with the word remote. I know like I've been a small business owner in my last company, by the time I sold it, we had something like 20-ish people or something like that. I think the word remote is really one that causes like a lot of confusion. Like we have like Edge, for instance, like we have infrastructure all over the world. We have these campuses in the world. We have customers of all sizes, like specifically in dentistry. We have customers who've hired, dozens of people. And they all sit in one of these campuses. They're all sitting together. They're all team members, just like anybody else. So, is it remote, or is it just having, when you're growing as an organization, you have multi locations. And so if you think about it that way and just take the word remote out, you're like any other employee. Last quick thing, like with my last company, during COVID, and we were all in the same office. We were like an essential service, just like everyone here. And so we would, all have our own offices. And I would, if I want to talk to somebody in the next room over, I'm picking up the phone and I'm
Yeah.
talking to them because of things. So, is that remote? Is it not
I
remote?
think to add in, we're going to talk with our awesome friend and somebody who uses Edge here in a few minutes. It's just that I grew up in a dental practice, right? And I became an entrepreneur in 2018, but I was in a dental world for the other times. And in a dental practice, even today, we're just not used to having anybody work for us who isn't present in that location, right? And it's just dentistry is doing these amazing things for patients with their technology, but our business model is a little bit from the days of the Oregon Trail, right? I mean, it's just an old school business model that you're helping dentists learn that there are ways to leverage so many amazing people to help you with things you don't have to do in front of the patient, right? And that's just what was a game changer for us. We saw Dua on there. She was our originally started with our dental office. And when we first met Edge, and people would say, well, what happens if people ask if they're not in your office? And guess how many times she talked to people and they asked that? 0 times, if not one person had ever said. So dentists get into their own head, and we do so many things from insurance billing, following up on treatment plans that you do not have to be in front of the patient to. But let me just ask you these 2 questions here. Tell us about some of the unique challenges dental offices are facing, and how it's causing shortages, burnout, affecting both the patient and business performance.
There's look, whenever you're starting any business, like ultimately, no matter how efficient you become as an organization, you need people. Like that's just that's a given. And there's several factors in today's. I know some of us old timers like to blame like generation. Like this generation is
Yeah.
just as whatever, right? So whether it's processes, whether it's location, like we have customers in, like I said, 42 states, in like small towns, large towns. So ultimately you need people. And so if for whatever reason you have a hard time finding people, like your business is going to struggle. And we know that hiring just sucks, right? Like whether it's remote, not remote, whatever. And um and so so um um you know but it's like a must. So what we often see is, you put a job post on Indeed or whatever, Craigslist, whatever the case may be. You meet some people, you become disheartened by the type of people you
Yeah.
meet. Maybe it's out of an affordability thing, or maybe it's, the asks are too much, whatever the case may be. And then ultimately what happens is, people are like, well, you know what, that's too hard. I'm going to give up, or I don't want to deal with that. And they push it aside. And then what ends up happening in most cases is they're like, well, you're the office manager, or you do X, Y, Z. Why don't you do a little bit of this? Or why don't you do a little bit of this? And you just start piling on your current staff, and ultimately, that's a recipe. Sure, they're great and they'll help, but ultimately, that's going to cause burnout with your current staff. So, and you may lose the current staff, or your patient.
Also, what I'll also share, if he has to add to this as you're talking, is that your your current team in a dental office is on stage every day. I just went to Disney World, and we're the opposite of Disney World. Nobody wants to come or spend money there, and we need support from behind the scenes. So in dentistry, for too long, the person on the front lines taking money and answering the phone doesn't have the support, and that's what I found an Edge Health team member can really add to the practice. It's a working with your team in front of the patient to find out information, whether it's confirming a new patient appointment in their insurance, whether it's following up. When we had Dua working with us, we followed up on our reviews. So it increases bandwidth for the people in front of the patients. And you talk about smarter systems. What does that mean to you for a dental practice?
So I'll give you, a real world example. So we just moved, a couple of, like just like a year or so ago. And what do you do when you move? How do you find a dentist? I mean, at least like in the normal world, you're just looking at Google, you're sorting it by closest, but then also the best reviewed. And that's what you're doing. And so for me, it took, I think I had to make like 9 calls. I was like, oh, I'll call the best guy, right? He's the best dentist, best reviewed, must be good. didn't pick up the phone. Call the next person, didn't pick up the phone. So it wasn't until number nine, that that person picked up the phone. And 2 years later, we've probably spent like thousands of dollars. I have four kids, wife, me, my mom, and
Yeah.
we spent like a boat ton of money on that. Now, so you think about like the opportunity cost. They're like those first eight or nine folks, great dentists clearly, but they just didn't have their systems or their processes or whatever, set. And the cost of that, you know, cost them a boat ton of money. You have like six patients. We've all been to the dentist. We're a family that goes every 3 months or 6 months or whatever, like you're supposed to. And so, it's those simple things that not having the phone tree, or not having somebody answer the phone, or not doing recare, like those, very, very simple systems. Like, it's not just about burnout. It's about like they're costing revenue, right? So
Well,
you
one of
so
the
you,
things too is, and yours was missed with a call, but what we had when Dua was with us, we also could follow. Many people come to the dentist, not surprisingly, they get a treatment plan and they say, "I want to think about it. I'm not so sure. I have to ask my spouse." So the follow up, just simply reaching out to patients who've been in your office, saying, "Would you like to move forward with this treatment plan?" is just a magical thing that a remote team member can do. On a future webinar, yes, we should actually bring on, one of our remote team members or some of them, because they're siloed in their own world in a good way. And it might sound like a good idea, Effie, for me to tell my team, hey, follow up on these five patients who didn't move forward with treatment. But when they come into the office, life happens and emergencies happen and problems happen, and they don't get to do that. So to me, that was a benefit. Do you have a real world example of a dental team that you guys have helped that have gotten better systems because of this global hiring?
yeah, let me kind of like so a lot of I think in healthcare, a lot of a lot of like healthcare dentistry, a lot of providers have a perception of what remote or global looks like. In many cases, like when I call my American Express, right, and I'm transferred to some call center somewhere, it's like it's not a good experience. American Express knows it's not a good experience. The only reason they're doing it is because that's the only option that they have, and so that's the perception that a lot of us in healthcare have. It's like, okay, I don't want remote, I don't want global, because it's going to be really this, frankly, crap experience. And so one of the things that's most surprising, like you said, like the six or the several team members that you have, is that remote doesn't mean compromise. Remote doesn't mean I'm getting half an employee. Remote doesn't mean that I'm going to get someone who's just doing the back end stuff. Like, we're building for like the future, right? We're building for folks who are like some of your folks who are front facing, who are customer facing, et cetera. And so you give that to many of our customers, and they're like, and as soon as they start treating them with just like any other employee, like it's like their entire world changes. Like, you talked about patient answering the phone. Well, how about just calling customers? Hey, how was your experience? Is everything okay? Like, those little things just equate to not only such a good customer experience, but they also mean,
One of the things that maybe I went to a hotel once and checked in, and I'll never forget this. By the time I walked from my hotel room to the from the lobby to my hotel room, they had called and said, "How is everything in your room?" And I just was blown away by this hospitality,
yeah,
right? And it gave them a moment to say, "Oh my gosh, I don't have this or that," and I wanted to put that into my team, right? But we wound up getting too busy for this, and that's a perfect example, as that you could have a Edge Health team member just simply follow up on every single new patient and say, we're so glad you came to our office. Is there any questions you have? And in dentistry, it could be insurance, it could be treatment plans, it could be their next appointment. But let's bring on a real world dentist, Dr. Tarek, who we've helped with Dentist Job Connect. He's an Edge client, one of my favorite dentisting humans. So, Dr. Tarek, you're here with us. And before we launch into Edge, just tell our audience a little bit about a day in your life, uh, your practice, how many people you work with, your favorite nacho topping. Let's hear it.
Hi, Paul. Good to be with you as usual. My day starts as usual with a morning huddle. I have my associate through Dental Job Connect, an awesome associate. I share the dentisting joy with her 2 days a week, and then she works on her own for that other day. I have my Edge Health ambassador, or she's been with me since 2021. She's been fantastic. She does a lot of tasks that we don't have either the time or the bandwidth to deal with inside the office. And you made a few good points. I definitely don't want my new patients. I spend a lot of money on marketing, and new patient calls are very valuable. I don't want to get somebody in the office that's busy with um, checking out a patient or charting for perio for that patient or doing this or doing that from full attention to that patient. That new patient call is valuable. Um, so yeah, I have my Edge Health employee. I have 6 others. I have 2 in the front and 3 dental assistants in the back, along with my Edge Health employee.
Tell us this, Tarek, because we're both, we're pretty open. Oh, did you want to say something, Miffy?
No, that's
Okay,
anything.
tell us this. Let's just pretend that the dentist is watching the two of us for the first time and says, I want to get this Edge Health team member. I want to do it, but like, how's my team going to adapt to it? Right? Tell us a little bit about the work between your in-office team and your Edge Health team member. How do they set up tasks? How do they work together? Has your team been like, wow, I wish we had this sooner? Any of those things? Tell us a little bit about that.
Sometimes there could be tension. Sometimes there could be, oh, was she supposed to do that or was I supposed to do that? So it comes back to leadership. You have to be clear on what tasks each person gets. But honestly, overall, after some skepticism in the beginning, they love her. She does a lot of the stuff that they do not want to do or they do not have the time to do. So she's filling a big void in my office's operation that I wouldn't have had otherwise. uh, a lot of everything about new patients and new patient communications she handles. uh, Insurance verification, which is an extension of the new patient experience, she handles that as well. She handles all my Instagram and social media posting. She's very talented at graphics and editing videos and doing things like that. Patients love her. We've already given her a tour of the office and how people come in the parking lot and get into the office so that she can explain it to them. um, some people ask about her, and we tell them, yeah, she's in Peru, she's virtual, but she has very good rapport with patients on the phone and following up on new patients, following up on unscheduled treatment plans. The whole office does that, but she does that as well. When you were saying that, you reminded me of a case that came a year ago for a consult, and she brought that case back and she spoke to her. They communicated, they connected because they both speak Spanish, and that patient came and they did the implants after 1 year of leaving and not showing up. So there is
Awesome
definitely
story.
value for that. And the Edge Health employees or ambassadors they appreciate the opportunity. It goes a long way in their countries versus the people who work with us, the warm bodies that work here in the United States. It's not as much work ethics and appreciation as much as Edge gives me.
I mean, what I say, Tarek, thanks for sharing that, is, you could just have both. You can have great people working in your office. You have great people working remote. I have that at Job Connect. I have that at Nachos. You have that at your office. So you've done two things to help dentists with, because dentists can be resistant to change. So if you just had a few sentences and you were talking to another general dentist, what's the benefit of having an associate dentist? Why do you want to have an associate dentist in your practice?
Do you want to have work-life balance? Do you want to have more time to do the things you want to do? As a practice owner, as independent dentist, you wear so many hats. There's so much of your time that can be consumed if you are taken into the minutia of running a dental office. There's so many things that could be done. So the more you can delegate, whether it's with a remote employee like Edge, or the more you can share dentistry with another associate that can do other procedures, it can free up more of your time. You can take Fridays off, you can take another day off from the office, and your patients will still be served. So if you have enough patients to handle, having an associate, definitely get an associate and buy more of your time. Do more of what you like to do.
I love
If
that.
that's
I love that part. But now back to the dentist saying, I'm going to go do a demo with Iffi and his team. I'm going to learn about Edge Health team members. But us dentists, we're very good at getting stuck, right? We're very good at researching and looking and doing and checking and then doing nothing. So help the dentist who's like, this sounds good, I want to do it, but I'm not so sure. Push them forward, push them into trying. Tell them, what is something you would say to that dentist who's resistant to adding an Edge Health team member to their practice?
Well, first of all, if that dentist has challenges and they are aware of those challenges, then if that's something that can be solved with a remote employee, then do it. What are you going to lose? They train their people at Edge. They have college degrees mainly. You have three people to choose from. They will give you three options to choose from. And I'm not sure if this is like a month to month or a year. I've been with Edge since 2021. I haven't thought of changing it, but uh, if it's something that is not long-term commitment, then definitely do it. What are you going to lose?
Right. Why not try it? It could be better. I love that. Now, before we let you go back to your patients,
like
yeah.
you can explain that.
Iffi, unmute yourself. So you're hearing from one of your own people that you've helped. How does that make you feel? Anything you want to add? You're on with two dentists and Iffi. It's like between two ferns, between two dentists, right? So anything you'd like to add before we let Dr. Tarek go back to his patients?
Yeah, look, like Dr. Tarek said, this is the first time he's ever done anything like this before, and it's not just dentists who just are great at researching and then not executing. It's like every business owner. It's like you're afraid. It's a big deal, but like Dr. Tarek said, it's like come up with your wish list. Like this is what I wish I had that would make my life better. Call us. Talk to somebody. It's not a commitment. Interview people and then we'll make it really easy for them to hire. And if you don't like any of them, then just walk away. It's that easy. So, like you said, Paul, there's not a commitment. 97%. This is a real stat of times when customers meet. The prospects, the potential hires, they're hiring them. But you know what? There's that 3% of the time that folks decide it's not for me, and that's okay. But you think about that versus interviewing somebody in real life. Like, wouldn't it be amazing if you knew that, okay, I'm going to only interview three people. It's going to take 20 minutes each. I know everything else is taken care of. And then I'm going to hire one of those three people. Like that would make life suck a lot less if those are real stats in real life.
I love that. Actually, Tarek, before I let you go, you guys both made me think of something. What we should ask dental practice owners is say, go to your team and write down what they wish they didn't have to do, and not in front of a patient, right? Insurance verification, confirmations, these are easy things. And then say, would you like me to get someone to support you behind the scenes with this? Because what I think we might not totally understand, and maybe it's hard for you to understand not being a dentist, you can't control the time the patient takes from you and the front desk and the assistant. You think you're going to have a 5-minute conversation. Next thing you know, it's a 25-minute conversation. But you're literally face to face and you cannot extract yourself from it. The patient, dental pun intended, you didn't laugh, but that's okay. You can't extract yourself from it. So your front desk team member thinks, I'm going to get these 4 things done, but Mrs. Smith spends 17 minutes asking her about a class 2 composite on number 15, and that's what they're there for. So when they turn around, if the things on their plate have been finished, health support team member, that's how you decrease the burnout and stress. So I think that's a great one. Well, Tarek, I'm going to let you go back to your patients. Anything else you want to share before you're done? Thank you for supporting us at Job Connect and being on this interview with Edge and all the good work you're doing to make dentistry better. Anything else you want to share before we wrap up?
Thank you, Paul. No, nothing much to add. I just want to say I'm happy with Edge. I'm happy with Dentist Job Connect and keep doing the good work you guys are doing.
Thanks, Eric. My aunt, she would like you very much. Appreciate all the compliments. Thanks so much. So from our finale, I want Iffi to just kind of share these slides for the last minute. So I'll click through. If you can feel free to narrate here. So I'm going to turn it over to you to narrate, but I'll be your slide clicker.
Sure, great. Just a minute.
Sure.
Dr. Paul said, talk to your team member and ask them, put together that wish list of what would make them happier. I think that's a great way to start. And then, come and see us. But, we've been around for several years now. We have hundreds of dentists, I think, like I said, in like 40 plus states around the world, including including Alaska and Hawaii. But here's some of the really, really great partners that we've had for a long time, and they've loved it. And we have testimonials if you check our website that from many of these folks, like Dr. Tariq. We want to be your complete solution. We want to make it super easy for you. We want that you interview 3 people. You select who you want. Everything else you shouldn't have to think about. And so we have these campuses all over the world, and so they're all the folks in our platform. They're HIPAA certified. They're trained. We have security. We have secure VPNs. Like, I know this is a big one. We have several big hospitals as our customers, and so we have like VPN servers in I think in like 4 different markets: Chicago, Texas, New York, California, and a couple of more, where like the IP address that these folks that your hire gets, so it's going to look like they're actually working within one of those places. So we're super high on security, IT support, but really, again, all of these things are really nice, but the point of all of these is to make it really easy. Here's some stuff that's pretty popular with customers use their employee for. These are just like some quick stats that we pulled up, but really remember, these are your employees. They can do whatever you want, just like any other employees. We work with all the major the systems like Open Dental, Dentrix, Ascend, and so we've worked with them all. So all of our folks have experience.
I like accounts receivable. They can help you go get that money that you're missing, right?
That money. Yeah, exactly. We have a pretty cool platform that you can log into to see some of the interviews. So just a quick 411 on folks that you're going to meet, you're going to interview, and then an easy way to manage them. And we're integrating. I don't, it's a lot of dentists now are moving to different HR systems, especially as it gets bigger and more complex. So we're working on integrations. But again, our whole idea here is to make this hire just like any other hire and to help you build a team that'll help you grow. So a really cool platform that's there. That's all we have. This is really great. This is really fun. Thanks for setting this up, Paul. But like I said, start with that wish list. Talk to your team, or even talk to your spouse about, hey, do you wish I had more time, or what are some things that, and then just give us a call, and you won't be sorry.
To kind of bring it together, and many dentists listening to this, whether here now or recording, will say there are patients that they've encouraged to do dental treatment and they've dragged their feet for years, and they finally do it, and they hold up that mirror and smile with their teeth, and they say this one thing: I wish I did this sooner. And that is totally how I feel about working with my amazing Edge Health team members. I wish I had known about it sooner. I wish I had been invented sooner. So make sure that if you are watching, you text Edge to 215-798-9897. They're an amazing sponsor. I'm proud to be on the board of Edge, supporter of what we do. They're helping dentists do better. And just find out, make that list with your team of what they wish they didn't have to do while they're working with patients, and see how you can unlock more freedom, free time, and flexibility for your team. Thanks, Iffi, so much for sharing with me. Stay around for a minute. Everyone who came to watch this with us, really appreciate your support.